In this video, I want to look at the options you have in WP e-commerce for configuring the checkout page. All right, we saw with the shopping cart page, there wasn't much there other than choosing where it might display, cart location, and there was one display item we had control over. With checkout, we've got more options. In fact, we have a whole screen just for checkout right here. First of all, users must register before checking out. Typically, you're going to want people to have the ability to buy as a guest and not sign up, so to speak, as a customer. All right, so typically you're going to want to leave that as no. Enable shipping same as billing option. In other words, do you want people to be able to click a little checkbox and say, use my billing address for my shipping address? Now, by default, that's at no, but typically you're going to want that as yes. People don't want to fill things out twice, right? Force users to use SSL, in other words, a secure checkout. We don't need to do that on here because the actual checking out, the actual payment process, the place where you enter your credit card number or something like that, that doesn't occur on your server. It occurs on a third party. All right, we have a checkout page, but that's not where the payment actually takes place. However, sometimes people are sensitive about entering any kind of information on a shopping cart site, so they will sort of complain and say, we need SSL. If you're finding that's the case with your clients, you can switch this. You will have to have, of course, and it mentions it here in the help, you must have a secure certificate. Okay, so don't check this off unless you've got an SSL certificate for your site. All right. The forms to be displayed on your checkout page can be customized here, which is an interesting feature. In fact, you can use different forms. You could maybe at a different time of year have a different form, or for a special occasion set up a special form, and you can add those sets of forms. And it controls what you display over here. All right, these are all checked off. This is all by default. I haven't touched anything in these. Are they mandatory? Do they have to fill them out? You can check that off there, and you can add and remove from there. And you can also change the labels, which I find handy as well, because you might want to word things a little bit differently than the defaults have, and you would just save your changes there. Okay, so you have a little bit of control over it, but the actual layout is really controlled more by what elements you've got. So for example, right now we have the shopping cart appearing up here. That's controlled over here under presentation. I don't need to, oh yes, I do want to keep those, don't I? Thanks for reminding me. I didn't hit my big blue button. There we go. All right, saved our changes. Now I go over to presentation, and I scroll down to here, and I'm going to take this off of page and put shopping cart just in the widget. So I'll save my changes. So that's going to clear out some of the clutter that I've got right now on my checkout page. The actual styling and look of the checkout page, I find it quite crowded and sort of a bit similar. Everything looks the same, and I find that a bit difficult. Talking about styling, that's going to be in a separate video completely. Right now, we're just concerned with the elements that are on there. All right, so now I go back, and under shipping, that's another place where I have some options of what's going to actually show on here. What calculators am I going to display and so forth. That's going to affect the size of your checkout page. Now let's just make sure that our use shipping the same as billing is working. Yes, it is. There we go. Same as billing address. Perfect. So when I check that, it eliminates some of the clutter. That's kind of nice. In fact, I would like to see that be default checkoff there. You know, when I switch that on the settings, it would be nice for this to already be removed, the shipping address removed. And when I check that, it would say, oh, you want a different shipping address? Fine. It's kind of opposite to the way I'd like to see it. If I take that off, by default, it shows this. And there's our different payment types. Again, if we had more payment types, they would show up down here, and that's all controlled through your payment gateways. So there we go. We've got a checkout page, not a huge amount to configure, but some controlled by various elements in your store settings. And as I say, to talk about the styling of the checkout page, we'll leave that for a separate video.